Continuing on with our alternate tunings, today we're going to take a look at double drop D. And it's just like it sounds. We're going to drop two of our notes into D. We're going to take you through exactly what notes to drop, which ones to leave the same, and we're going to show you some great chords and some cool examples that you can use once we have your guitar in this tuning. Double drop D. What that means for us is we're going to take from standard, you're going to lower string 6 and string 1, both from E down to D. And don't even touch your other strings, assuming they're in tune, and just leave those the same. So string 6 down one whole step to D, string 1 down one whole step to D, and you're good to go. Once we have your guitar in this tuning, a great place to start is with one of our big open D5 or D power chords. Really cool sound, and this is what alternate tunings are all about. This sort of sound is unavailable to us in standard tuning, but now thanks to the tuning, really nice drony open D power chord there. For those of you who are used to playing in standard, just think about playing a D chord, taking off your middle finger, and then playing all 6 strings. To really get a cool sort of southwest vibe going, you can play this chord and blend in the 3rd fret 6th string as sort of a fill. Also the 5th string at the 3rd fret, and start playing around with that. Even see towards the end there, bringing it into the 4th string. So that's a great place to start. Get you going, playing some music right away just off of that first chord. Once you're ready to take a look at some other voicings, some interesting things happen in this tuning. The first of which that I noticed is that our top 4 strings are going to make a G chord. So now not only do we have that big open D, we also have access to a nice open sounding G by playing our top 4. Now if we stick the 5th fret of the 6th string on the bottom of that and skip over string 5, now we have a really cool sounding G chord that we can play there. Or if you want to get string 5 involved in the action, try holding down the 2nd fret of string 5 and playing every string except for string 6. Something really cool that you can do. Basically what's happening here is strings 1, 2, 3, and 4 are staying stable as a G chord, an open G chord. And since we're fretting string 5, let's maximize our potential here and try changing the bass note around. Create some different patterns based on this. Starting at the 2nd fret, I'll create a little picking pattern. So now we have movement against those open strings. Fun stuff that you can start playing right away in this tuning. Now, because we're so closely related to standard tuning, some interesting things happen with our old familiar voicings. They get a sort of a facelift, if you will, when we play them the same way, but in our altered tuning. Let's revisit an old familiar staple, our C chord, and see what happens now in the new tuning. If I start and hold down all the same notes, same way I would do in standard, listen to what happens when I play these notes individually. That all sounds familiar, but listen what happens when we play string 1. Now, that's a new sound. And what's cool about that is we can use the same chord voicings we used before, and we get a whole new sound available to us. That gives us a C add 9 sound. But A minor. Awesome. A minor add 11 now. And we didn't even have to change anything. We're using an old familiar shape here. What if you want to go back and play the old regular A minor? Well, just add your pinky in here to the 2nd fret 1st string. And you have your old familiar buddy there, A minor. Let's take a look at what happens when we play our old familiar D chord voicing. Once again, familiar shape, unfamiliar sound. Pretty neat. A lot of people, when they first learn a D chord, learn this little maneuver where you add the pinky to the D. Notice how that creates an entirely different sound in the new tuning. We can go open. Remember the first chord that we went over today, all 6 strings? Try this with the additions now. Familiar movements with new sounds. Speaking of that D chord, if you were to move up this big open chord, let's say we moved it up to the 3rd fret here. This now becomes a big bar chord that's a nice, thick power chord. Index finger across all 6 strings, ring finger at the 5th fret, and pinky finger at the 6th fret of strings 3 and 2. Now we can move this, becomes a movable shape for us. We can move this around and create a nice 6-string power chord. Let's see how all of these different chord voicings and ideas that we've talked about today can be pieced together into a nice cohesive sounding chord progression. Let's take you through our C add 9. We had A minor 11. And don't let the names fool you. Remember, this is just an old familiar shape. Now let's go to a big F power chord. 6 strings, bar here at the 3rd fret. Here's a big open G. Let's return to our C. A minor add 11. Big open D5 that we learned in the beginning. To our G over B. Creates a nice sound. We put a little rhythm to it, put a little swagger to it. Okay, double drop D. A lot of fun, easy one to get in and out of. If you're just looking for a quick fix with your alternate tunings, just drop string 6, drop string 1, and away you go. Thanks for checking this one out. Stick around and I'll see you next time.